Have you ever looked at your bank account and thought to yourself, how am I working this hard and still feeling stuck? Or why am I grinding nonstop and still not getting anywhere? If so, I want you to know that you are not alone, and it's not because you're lazy or unmotivated or bad with money. Whether you realize it or not, most of the time it's because you're doing these 7 things that are slowly draining your wealth. It's everyday habits that we picked up from our childhood, from our culture, and even our fears without ever realizing it. And today I'm going to break them down for you one by one, not to shame you, but to free you. Because once you expose these habits, you can never go back to living the same way again. So let's jump right into these 7 habits keeping you poor financially, mentally, and emotionally, and what you can do starting today to finally break free. Habit number 1, living in survival mode thinking. This one is big, especially for those of us who grew up with financial instability. Survival mode thinking is when your brain is trying so hard to avoid danger that you can't plan for the future. Neuroscientists call this an amygdala hijack. When the amygdala senses threat, even financial threat, it immediately shuts down the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for long-term planning and decision-making. What happens then is you choose quick fixes over long-term solutions, you avoid looking at your money because it causes anxiety, and you believe, as long as my bills are paid, I'm fine, which never builds wealth. As a first-generation immigrant, I came to the US as a kid when I was 10 years old, and I watched my parents hustle non-stop. You see, we had nothing for years, and that survival mindset, it stuck with me. Even in my 20s when I had a job, I was terrified to open my bank app. And payday didn't feel like progress, it felt like a lifeline. But here's the truth that no one tells you. The cycle only breaks when you choose honesty. When you finally look at the numbers, understand them, and you take your power back. You see, real wealth starts with awareness and not income, which leads me to habit number 2. Confusing comfort with stability. We were raised to believe a stable job equals a stable life, but here's the uncomfortable truth. Stability is not the same as prosperity. Many people stay in their jobs for years, even though it drains them, underpays them, or limits their potential, simply because it feels safe. But comfort is also the biggest barrier to growth. Science shows that the brain will always try to pull you toward what's familiar. That's why people stay stuck in the same cycle for years, because growth is dangerous even when staying stuck is actually worse. However, you have to realize that comfort comes at a cost, and usually it's your future. Habit number 3, consuming more than you create. This is a psychological trap of the digital age. We consume entertainment, advice, information, products, trends, and other people's lives. But we rarely create. Science shows that dopamine spikes every time we consume, whether it's a new video, a new purchase, or simply a scroll. But creating requires delayed gratification, which our brains resist because it takes effort. Yet, wealth is built through creation by creating value, creating skills, creating income streams, and creating opportunities. When I started YouTube, I realized something. I had been consuming for years, but I hadn't created anything myself. And the moment I switched that, everything changed. After creating on YouTube for about a year, I had one viral video which gave me over 15,000 views and hundreds of watch hours and subscribers. If you haven't watched it yet, I'm going to link it for you here. It helped me create a community, and it made me realize I should have done this years ago. You see, creation is the engine of wealth and consumption is the brake. Habit number 4, relying on one source of income. Relying on a single source of income is like building your entire emotional journey around one person and hoping that they never change. It's not security, it's actually vulnerability because you have one point of failure. According to a 2023 Bankrate study, about 44% of Americans now have a side hustle as well. And those with multiple income streams report significantly higher financial confidence regardless of how much they make. We grew up believing, get a job, you'll be fine. But today, especially in today's market, one job is not a plan, it's a risk. And you don't need 10 different income streams, just start with one, whether it's freelancing or starting a YouTube channel or teaching a course or consulting or even a weekend passion project. And remember, small streams eventually compound and become rivers. Habit number 5, letting emotions make your money decisions. Look, I get it, money can be and is deeply emotional. Fear, guilt, shame, and anxiety, these drive financial decisions more than logic ever will. There's a study from Stanford showing that people under emotional stress make riskier financial decisions even while believing they're being rational. Have you ever retail therapied your way out of a bad day? Or avoided checking your account because it made you anxious? Or felt guilty spending on yourself even when you knew that you could afford it? Well, that's emotional money management, and believe it or not, it can be very expensive. If your emotions are driving your wallet, they are also driving your financial destiny. So learn to pause, breathe, and ask, is this an emotional purchase or a strategic one? That single question saves more money than budgeting ever will. Habit number 6, not investing in your skills. Skills are the new currency. You don't get paid for your time. You get paid for the value that you bring in that time. Many people stop learning after 30 and some after 22. But the best paid people in every industry have one thing in common. They never stop learning. Psychologists call this compound learning, the idea that your skills grow exponentially over time, like interest. So every course, every book, every new project, every challenge, it compounds. So you don't need to reinvent yourself. You just need to upgrade yourself with continuous learning. Habit number 7, treating wealth like a mystery instead of a skill. Growing up, most of us weren't taught about wealth. We were taught, save money, don't brag, rich people are greedy, and money doesn't buy happiness. But nobody taught us how to invest, how to negotiate, how to manage emotions around money, how to build wealth, and how to think like someone who is financially free. Because here's the truth that nobody tells you. Wealth is a skill, money is a tool, and financial freedom is a mindset. And once you learn that, everything changes. So if you recognize yourself in any of these habits, then hear me when I say this. You are not behind, you're not failing, you're not doomed. You are simply waking up. Awareness is the moment that finally everything starts to shift. And today you took that first big step. Because your next chapter, it starts now. See you in the next one.